Today I want to share with you an uncomfortable truth. It's something that I think that a lot of lawyers are uncomfortable talking about because it involves the way that we all make money. But in divorce and in family law, unfortunately, the system is designed to profit off of the pain and fear of other people. Now, I want to tell you first, there are a lot of really good people out there practicing divorce law, but there are also a lot of firms who have become so invested in the conflict in order to get those super high fees in order to stay profitable and stay in business that they lose sight of what I believe as attorneys in family law, what we're here to do, which is help families thrive through the process, develop co-parenting skills. Because the reality is this. Your divorce is just a season. It's a season that's going to end. It's not going to last forever, even though it feels like it sometimes. There is going to be the day that the divorce is done, the ink is dry, and you are still left with each other to co-parent your children. And if the process of getting to that day has been so nasty, so adversarial, so conflictual that you're not even on speaking terms with that person anymore, how are you expected to then co-parent in a way that actually supports your children? And the problem is that there are law offices out there who actually profit off of your divorce being as nasty as possible. And so there are attorneys out there who are literally going to be stirring the pot. They're going to love the fact that you're in fear and you're overwhelmed and you don't know what to do. And they're going to prey on you and they're going to encourage you to make moves based on an old, outdated adversarial system, a system that's broken. So many different parts of our society right now, whether that's medicine, whether that's politics, whether it's the law, we're all looking for an alternative. We know something's wrong. And that reality is true in family law and in family court. There are amazing judges out there who are doing this work. However, they are so inundated with couples. 80% of people are forced to go to court to get their divorce without attorneys. These DIY couples, pro se couples is what we call them, they take up so much of the court's attention that you can have an attorney but actually not be able to get court time with that judge because the system's so inundated with couples without guidance or inundated with couples with lawyers who want to fight over every single detail. So right now what we're seeing is our younger millennials and our older Gen Z, they are starting to get their divorces. They're actually old enough now that they're starting to get their divorces. And I'm telling you that this generation, they're not going to settle for the old way. They're not going to go around giving a $30,000 retainer to their attorney in order to go spend years in court. They're looking for fast. They're looking for technology. They're looking for something that is trauma-informed because this generation is extremely trauma-informed. And so they're already looking for these alternatives, just like they are in every other area of life right now, whether it's politics, whether it's medicine, no matter what it is. We have AI, we have technology. And so the old way of doing things really is coming to an end. And I believe that collaborative divorce and Kids-First Mediation is really the new era of divorce work in Florida. There is a better way. I hope to help reform the system that we're currently in. We need to raise awareness around the fact that there are many other options to get your divorce besides hiring an attorney and going to war. The first time I realized that the system wasn't working for families was when I got my own divorce. And I walked through that awful process and stayed in this contentious battle for so long. And then as I moved my practice into practicing family law, I got to see it firsthand. I had one case in particular that went on for 3 years, and my client the other person on the other side was actually able to alienate my client from his children and used the court system almost as a weapon against him and actually as a part of an ongoing pattern of abuse. So I really became very motivated to find a better way for my clients because I knew that the system wasn't serving them. There are actually options like mediation, options like collaborative divorce that will actually support you and through the process of getting divorced, actually build in the skills you need to be effective co-parents for your children so that your children are not traumatized by the process. The statistics are clear. When couples end up going to trial and they end up with a court-ordered divorce. That means that they had no say-so, that their two lawyers put on their case after many, many, sometimes years, but many, many months, many, many thousands of dollars. I'm talking $100,000 or more to go to trial. They end up with whatever the judge decides. This total stranger in a black robe that's never met you before, you end up with whatever the judge says. And 9 times out of 10, those couples end up back in court because that judge, they didn't ask about your children. They didn't care about the nuances. They're giving you a clean cut down the middle, black and white, with as little gray area as possible because they got to move on to the next case. And your attorney too, they're ready for the next big retainer. So I want to help people opt out of all of that madness, but knowing that I'm speaking to you from someone who's been inside the system. I have been in the system. I've been in the trenches. I've seen the damage that it's done, not just to my clients, but in my own life and in my own high conflict divorce many years ago. And so I'm trying to help people find a better way, but also have that way still be not leaving you alone to twist in the wind with a DIY divorce. You should still have professional help through the process. It is overwhelming. There is a reason that you're afraid, right? But you shouldn't be exploited because you're afraid. You should find the person who's going to walk you through that process and empower you so that you can co-parent together. Doesn't mean you have to be best friends. It doesn't mean you agree on anything about your divorce, but you don't have to only go to war just because you don't agree on things. There is a better way. So if you're a family who's trying to decide what the path is for you, you know you don't want to DIY things, you know you don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in a years-long courtroom battle, and you're trying to figure out what is the right way, my advice is to first and foremost educate yourself. Schedule a consultation with my office or another attorney who's aligned with providing alternatives to the traditional divorce route. But I want you to understand that doesn't mean you don't have lawyers. You just have to find the right lawyers. There are excellent organizations right here in Tampa Bay. The one I'm involved with is called Next Generation Divorce. You can go right online and find us. And there's a list of other collaboratively trained attorneys who align with the values that I talk about, who will also give you these same options. They will tell you all the different pathways that you can consider before deciding which one is right for your family. But I think for you is if you've got high assets, you have some conflict, and you have minor children, I think the collaborative divorce is perfect for you. I think maybe if you have a pretty good level of trust with your ex-spouse, you guys pretty much know you're going to agree on most things, but you really need that help finessing out the details, then I think maybe Kids-First Mediation or even attorney-assisted mediation can be the right fit for you. At the Diorio Family Law Group, we offer all of those options. So I can literally sit down and walk you through each and every option because I just feel so passionate about giving families this information so that you can choose, so that you don't just thrown into this system so that other people are just profiting off of your family and you're wasting all the wealth that you've amassed on a divorce that the only winners in that are the lawyers. It's not the kids. It's not you and your soon-to-be ex-spouse.